Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this training where we are taking a look of the lessons from the Effie contest Europe winners. And we have a very international team here as our speakers. We have Vera Sitlova and Ecem Erdem from Kantar Czechs. And we have Christopher Hultin, who is here in Finland. And we are making a recording of this training, and I'm going to send it to you along with the slides. And we hope that you ask questions from our speakers by writing them down to our Q&A section. You can see it there at the upper screen. But now I'm going to turn it to you, Ecem and Vera. You're welcome.
Thank you, Reta. Thank you, everyone, for having us here today. We are from Kantar's global team, but we are based in Prague, and this is part of a project that we do with Effie Europe, where every year we look at the winning work. So I will now give the stage to Ecem.
Hi, everyone. Effie Europe, it's all about celebrating the most effective marketing ideas across Europe. And these are the ideas that we know for sure they delivered business results. And the beauty of it is that also these are the ideas that are across markets and they tackled a wide range of business challenges. So there's a lot in there that can inspire anyone and learn from. And also, so to make sense of what actually makes these campaigns work and not just admire them from a distance, Kantar, as the strategic insights partner of Effie Europe, we look at these winners and analyze to understand the why behind their success. So, marketers learn from them. So today we are going to share some of these key lessons that we uncovered from the 2025 winners. And we also interviewed actually some of the winners. So you will also get to hear directly from them too and hear from them how they reached their success. So to start, I'll explain how we went about getting to these insights. What was the methodology? We analyzed over 190 Effie winning pieces of creative between 2022 and 2025. And out of that, 111 assets were from the winners of 2025. And we took all this work and run them through Link AI. And Link AI is Kantar's AI-powered creative effectiveness tool. It was trained on Kantar's database, which is the world's largest testing database. And it allows us really predict the creative effectiveness on a scale very quickly. So it allows us to do this kind of meta-analysis in a short amount of time. If we can go to the next slide. Yeah, so starting with what we have seen this year. One thing that really popped out is that this year's winners, they delivered really record high brand building scores. On average, they achieved a 10-point uplift in long-term equity potential compared to last year. And when you zoom in on the gold winners specifically, they were in the top 25% of all tested assets that's on average in long-term equity. So seeing this great achievement from the Effie Europe winners of 2025, it naturally gave us a clear direction for the research that what we wanted to focus. So we wanted to understand what is behind their brand building power and why are these campaigns so strong at building brands and what can marketers today actually take from that. But before we get into that 3 key lessons, I also want to start with another interesting finding we came across. And you might be wondering, recognizing maybe, but definitely beckons, but not sure about the Pete Davidson. For those who don't know, Pete Davidson is a very kind-hearted comedian. Whenever there is a heartbroken woman who just broke up with their long-term partner, he is there to consolidate them on average about 6 months. So he's known for his short-term relationships. And whereas you have Beckhams, they've been together for decades. And you might be wondering why I'm talking about Beckhams and Pete Davidson. It's something to do with the longevity of the agency-client relationship. So when we looked at the winners and looked at the patterns of how long they've been working, having that partnership, that we found out that long agency client relationship, it actually doubles your chances of bringing home an Effie Europe award, because the winning ratio were 50% among the client agency partnerships that were 5 or more years, whereas it was half of that among the ones that were working together for less than a year. And one of the Beckhams of the winners this year were MasterCard and McCann Poland. MasterCard and McCann Poland, they won a silver in 2025 with the Room for Everyone campaign. And Room for Everyone is MasterCard's initiative that uses anonymized transaction and behavioral data. It aims to help entrepreneurs to identify the optimal locations to start or grow their businesses. And it is a follow-up of their previous campaign, which was Where to Settle. And these campaigns, essentially, they were built to help Ukrainian refugees, actually. And the previous one, Where to Settle, was focused on helping Ukrainian refugees to find a place to live. And Room for Everyone is a shift from that to helping small businesses and them thrive economically by connecting them with the neighborhoods where businesses complement each other. And the lead agency behind this campaign, as I said, it's McCann Poland, and they have been working with MasterCard for decades, for a really long time. So they are really one of the Beckhams of this year's winners. And now you are going to hear from them. It's CEO of McCann Poland, Wojciech Borowski, and Jerzy Holub, which is the Vice President of Marketing and Communications at MasterCard. And they are going to talk about how this long-term relationship impact their work, and Nanberg is going to take over.
And MasterCard has been our client since 1991, and we've worked together throughout all of these years. And it's just been an incredible journey. So part of our DNA actually in Poland is the cooperation with MasterCard.
So we are not in a permanent pitch for ideas. We try to have the right talent pool within our current agency ecosystem. So we onboard new agencies extremely rarely. Rather than looking for to the market to various ideas, we try to build a model that long term will be able to deliver amazing stuff. And the difference is that there is, I would say, there is no obvious border between client and agency in this setup, and people do feel secure. So they are not in a constant pitch and competition. We are able to work together, make mistakes, have bizarre ideas that at the end of the day deliver outstanding quality, but you need trust and time, and you need to prepare for the situation that actually there is no brilliant idea on the table, and you will not ask anyone external for the help. You will stick to the same team, and you will try again and again to find a solution. So this is the model that works long term, but short term, it means that you have to deal with this ecosystem.
Yes, this is true. And I can say for sure, fully agree with Jerzy. And for sure, it's very interesting because business stability for an agency gives it the possibility, the power, and the ecosystem in order to really deliver on great work. Because if we are in non-stop pitch mode, it's actually destabilizing not only to the team, but it's also destabilizing to the business as a whole. Yeah, so it's very difficult to focus. Yeah, so I think what we've achieved together with our partners at MasterCard throughout the years is we really have a laser focus on what is the assignment to be done, and we have the flexibility and the trust to each other to really experiment with various ideas to make sure that we come up with the best solution.
So thank you to the team at MasterCard and McCann for talking about the benefits of long-term relationships. I will now take us to the actual learnings from this year's analysis that pertain to the campaigns themselves. And the first one that we'll cover today is about branding. Now, we all know that creating a strong link with your brand is essential for effective campaigns, because if people don't associate the content with your brand, you might actually be wasting your precious media budget. Or even worse, sometimes if you do branding really poorly, you're spending your media monies in favor of your direct competitors. So creating that strong link with your brand is absolutely essential. Now, Effie Europe winners are great examples of how to brand well. They have historically been strong at branding, but this year's, when we compare to, or rather 2025 winners, when we compare them to 2024 winners, they have even stronger branding than they did before. And so it's really a good source of work to look into what are the different mechanisms of creating a strong brand linkage. And successful campaigns are really unmistakable for the brand that they serve. Now, a great example of this year, will only show one, but it comes from Magnum, though this was a multi-market campaign. It won in the multi-market category. And it's centered on the brand's distinctive asset that symbolizes its premium nature. And that's the cracking sound of the chocolate coating. You know, they've used it in some ads in the past, but this ad does it quite differently. Now, it was also tied to a strategy because they wanted to continue to push its and justify its premium positioning. Now, this campaign scores really highly in branding, but also in its ability to drive long-term impact for Magnum. And the sound, in this case, it's more than just a distinctive brand asset. It's really the hero of the campaign videos. It basically, without spoiling it, it triggers various things in the story. And what I thought was really interesting when we were going through the jury comments on this one is that one juror noted that even in static assets of the campaigns, like out of home, you could sense the sound even with audio off, because the visual itself is so vivid, and it reminds you of the instances where you've heard the crack, that it works even in audio off formats. So let's look at one of the ads in the campaign, but there were many. This ran across many European markets. So take a look at how they make this an unmistakably Magnum campaign.
Thick, cracking chocolate, a Magnum classic signature. Magnum, true to pleasure.
And now we will go to the second learning of this year, which Ejim will talk about, and it's all about creators.
I had muted myself because I have cats in the background, so not to interrupt Vera. So the second pillar is all about how to work with creators, actually, because we are essentially moving from whether to work with creators to how to work with creators, because the answer, the first one, is already clear, that more and more brands are partnering with creators. In fact, last year in 2025, at Kantar's media reaction study, a net of 61% of the marketers globally reported that they were planning to increase their budgets for creator marketing, more than actually their increase in any investment in the digital marketing. So creators are coming to the center of the marketing. But it's also about the differences how brands and agencies are working with them. So one thing we have found among the Effie Europe submissions this year is that 67% of them, of all the submissions, used creators, which is a lot, and there is a clear increase also from the previous years, which was quite stable. And when we look at the winners specifically, because this one was just for the submissions, and on the next slide, you can see that it's actually more than just using the creators now. Their roles are changing. In 2025, 13% of the winners used creators as their main primary touch points. And again, 13 alone might look not a lot, but essentially just a couple of years ago, it was 0%. So we are seeing a clear shift there. And two examples of how to work with creators and treating them more as creative partners rather than just seeing them as media channels just about their followers. One was from Dr. Max Pharmacy. They partnered with one of Slovakia's most popular meme pages. It's called Zomri, and Zomri in Slovak means die. And Dr. Max partnered with them, and it sounds interesting. A meme page named Die, and a pharmacy brand is partnering with them for their immunity boosting package. And so what they did was they created these Nezomri merchandise bags, and Nezomri means don't die, and filled with all this immunity boosting products. And on top of their partnership with the Zomri meme page, which brought them big success, they actually sold all the packages in record time, and they also targeted sick influencers. Some of the influencers in Slovakia, it was publicly known, they were sharing that they were sick, and Dr. Max actually targeted them with their vitamin-filled PR packages. So these influencers also endorsed the brand through that, and it wasn't an agreed partnership. It was just pure targeting without any budget there. And the other one is from Virgin Media O2, and they won with their campaign Daisy, and Daisy is an AI-powered grandma. She was created to waste scammers' time and expose their tactics. And one thing they did that to launch this campaign, they also partnered with Amy Hart. Amy Hart is an ex-Love Island contestant from the UK. And one thing about her is that she had fallen victim to a scam that actually she lost £5,000. So that connection, they choosing her to actually announce an anti-scam campaign also shows how influencers can bring more than their followers, that actually they help tap into that part of culture and build meaningful connections through their already established connections. But there is one big watch out when working with creators, that they are overall great at engaging and easily connect with audiences, but branding is a big watch out. In fact, only 27% of the creator content links to the brand based on Kantar's Context Hub database. So there is something to be careful about when working creators, because as Vera mentioned, branding should be always there. Branding doesn't leave the room just because you are working with a creator. And so that is something to pay attention to. And one of the winners this year was from Old Spice with the campaign Unexpected Heroes, and they actually did branding very well. They scored among the top 25 in branding, so they scored a really high branding, and shortly you are going to watch their case video and then learn all about how they integrated their brand. But just to give a little summary, that they used their scent names as nicknames of the gamers they collaborated with. So while they were partnering with gaming influencers, they made sure the DNA, the core element of their brand, was also at the center of their campaign.
Gaming is such a relevant space for Gen Zers, so when aiming to introduce its various scents to gamers, Old Spice used gamers' golden media outlet, Gamefluencers live streams, and started from a very juicy fact. Every gamer uses a chosen alias, often crafted to inspire fear, command respect, or spark admiration. Well, ever checked the names on the Old Spice scent variants? Whitewater, Wolfthorn, Night Panther, Captain, Tiger Claw, cool enough to sound like one of them, right? Old Spice presents Unexpected Heroes. Media became the message in a stunt, which, instead of interrupting the game, became the game. Old Spice product names became mysterious usernames, hiding top even pro gamers, challenging the community and winning every match. Top streamers were caught off guard during their live sessions by these mysterious players.
Vă salut, domnule Teo. Wolf. Thorn. Salut, Whitewater. Îi dăm invite lui domnul capitan.
Dă-mă cea repede 1 vs 1, fiți atenți.
Am transpirat. Băi, tu e prea bun. N-am o sparge. Bun, este cel mai bun jucător de Fortnite pe care l-am văzut vreodată. M-a secat! M-a secat rău! Bă, nu! Flash! Nu! Cine a bătut rău de tot la 1v1, cred că cu 10-4.
De asta oarecum sunt și mai curios, că m-a și bătut pe live. Și na, e puțin dureros.
Cineva care joacă mondial.
Naturally, everyone was eager to know who were these players.
Cine e băiatul ăsta Whitewater? Nu cred că e Lau, am vorbit cu el astăzi, dar nu cred că e Lau.
Guesses flew in chat. Names were speculated. Curiosity spiked.
Ia stai că mi-a scris capitanul ceva.
After the wins, each mystery gamer requested a face reveal. Behind each username was a pro player, some of them with international recognition.
Bă, nu cred!
Nu pot să cred ce! Zandi! Bă, cum adică Old Spice Whitewater Zandi? Uite ce prank mi-a făcut la un X de bun!
Nu pot să cred că a fost mare prank!
This brings us to our third and final learning, which is how, when you have creators, how to make sure that they're not working in a silo, and how you can think about your campaign as a whole to make sure that all the bits are actually connected across. It's really important because in today's very fragmented media environment, a lot of people feel this tension that you need to either tailor or adapt content for each platform. But at the same time, you need to balance that customization to channel with being consistent across the campaign. And our data is actually showing that this is more important than ever, because there's something called synergy effects, which is a very fancy word for saying the additional effect you get from people seeing your campaign in multiple channels. And we see that before 2014, in our media effectiveness studies, synergy effects accounted for less than a fifth of the overall campaign effectiveness. So in other words, about a fifth of your campaign's effectiveness came from the fact that I would see maybe an out-of-home piece and then could connect that to your TV ad. Now from 2022 onwards, that has shifted massively. So now almost half of campaign effectiveness comes from synergy effects and how well you're able to connect things across channels. Now, this is partly due to the fact that there just are more channels out there, but also the fact that people kind of piece things together from little bits of smalls. And so you need to tie it together for it to be successful. So what this really means is that creating campaigns that connect across touch points is a really strategic necessity now. It's not a nice to have anymore. And I'm really pleased to bring you one of our favorite Effie Europe winners from 2025. This is an interesting campaign because it's not actually just a campaign. It's a business idea that then went and had a campaign to go with it. But it started with a collaboration between a farmer and an agency. And the campaign itself is a great example of connectivity between creator content and brand produced content. So we'll go into the detail of how they did it. But first of all, let me introduce you to Rainbow Wool, which is an idea that started at a farm in Germany. And we're really happy that the farmer himself, Michael Stücke, recorded a little interview with us to tell you more about what the idea for Rainbow Wool is and how it came about.
Der Anfang ist eigentlich, ja, war durch die Freundschaft mit Nadja, die wir haben, ist das entstanden. Und zwar kam irgendwann die Frage auf, sie wusste ja, dass wir als schwules Männerpaar hier zusammenleben und in der bundesweiten Vereinigung der Gay-Farmer auch aktiv sind, kam irgendwann die Frage auf, gibt es eigentlich auch schwule Schafe? Und ich habe sofort, ohne zu überlegen, gesagt, natürlich, das gibt es auch in der Tierwelt, das ist völlig normal. Und dann kam als nächstes die Frage auf, was passiert mit diesen Tieren? Und dann habe ich gesagt, sie werden ja zur Zucht nicht gebraucht, sie werden aussortiert und sie werden dann geschlachtet, weil sie keinen anderen Zweck erfüllen. Und dann war natürlich, oh, wie schade und ja, was für eine Möglichkeit gibt es, die Tiere zu erhalten? Dann habe ich gesagt, wir brauchen ein Konzept, was die Finanzierung sicherstellt für diese Tiere. Und so hat sich das entwickelt. Und Schafe liefern ja nicht nur Fleisch und Landschaftspflege, sondern sie liefern auch Wolle. Und die Idee war, dass möglichst viele Leute davon profitieren können. Und so hat sich die Idee entwickelt, auch die Wolle zu gewinnen. Und Wolle ist ein so schönes Material, was heute leider wenig Wertschätzung hat. Und so ist die Idee entstanden, auch die Wolle zu gewinnen. Und ich muss ein bisschen ausholen. Im ersten Jahr war schon die Idee da, eine große Kollektion zu entwerfen, mit einem Designer vielleicht. Aber da habe ich gesagt, Leute, bleibt ganz ruhig und ganz entspannt. Wir haben gar nicht so viel Wolle. Und dann haben wir uns überlegt, was können wir denn Kleines machen? Und so ist der Start gewesen mit Schnürsenkeln. Dafür braucht man ja nicht so viel Wolle. Und diese Patches, die auf Mützen oder als Aufnäher für Kleidungssachen waren. Und das war, genau, ja, die hat einen obendrauf. Und das ist so super, der Start gelungen mit diesen Kleinigkeiten. Und dann ist die Herde gewachsen und es hat sich Unglaubliches entwickelt.
So this is the story of Rainbow Wool, wanting to create a sanctuary for gay sheep and also giving this a business sustainable lens by actually using it to produce things that could sell. Now, the campaign itself we'll talk about now, and it had many, many different elements. So it had a lead campaign video, which we'll show you later today, but it also leveraged creators where they actually invited them to the farm and they could create content there. They also had out-of-home placements. They leveraged events such as Pride. They had obviously the merchandise, but they also offered some B2B collaborations for, you know, like merch for your business with the wool. Now, the interesting thing, often when you think about consistency about channel, it's like, oh, how do I show up with a jingle or with a mascot? And those matching luggage items are important, but often aren't something you can use as easily with creators, for example. And what I think was really interesting in this campaign is that they centered around the story of saving gay sheep and making rainbow wool out of them. And that story, together with the actual merch assets, showed up in every asset in a consistent way without seeming like matching luggage. So everything linked back to this idea of saving gay sheep. Now we'll hear from Nadia Leites, who's one of the people at the Service Plan Agency, that will talk to us a little bit more about how they worked with creators.
Yeah. Look, our process was a very open process, I would say. So very early on, we knew that it has to be authentic. It can be easily perceived as pinkwashing or any sort of danger in that. The topic is too sensitive, so it felt wrong to just do paid influencer campaign in a way. So we also didn't really have a big budget for this. We had some budget to organize things and to make it fly, but it was not to pay the influencer to talk about this. That felt completely wrong. So we started in our search for community, so the gay community and the allies of the gay community. And as Andy was saying, so our first target was to get a big name, and Bill Kaulitz was non-negotiable for us. So he's such a creative, fun, caring, animal-loving person that we all knew, here, and he was our first get-to person. So we pitched the idea. It was immediately received. Our first take was, as Andy was saying, like very humble. Like we wanted him to just share, when it goes live at some point, when we have something to talk about. We just wanted him to talk about this. We didn't have any briefing. We didn't have any requirements. We didn't send any style guidelines or anything like this. We just invited him to the story. So opened the doors to the farm, opened the doors to Michael. We had conversations in hotel rooms in between his tour sessions, where he's like, oh, how can I help? Show me the progress of the product, show me how it looks like. So he really took the co-ownership, so the core participation and the co-creation of the campaign in a way, and it grew and grew and grew. So it was not like we always planned to do this one day on the farm to do the launch video for social media. It all came together in the collaboration.
So we will now look at the lead video with Bill Kaulitz, who's a singer from Tokyo Hotel. So you can see the lead video, and then we'll look at some of the other influencer work that was a part of the campaign.
Animals are...
Animals? I think it's very funny that we never thought about it, and now we know.
Animals are gay.
Did you know that scientists have observed over 1,500 species having gay sex? Even the king of the jungle.
And honey, sheep are the real deal.
About sex. Around 1 in 12 sheep is gay. But fuck, what happens if rams can't be used for breeding? Usually that doesn't end well for the rams.
Relax, we got this.
Let's talk about introducing rainbow wool, our fab solution for those overlooked gay sheep. Michael, an openly gay farmer from Germany, has created a sanctuary for all the unwanted gay rams, where they can live and love whoever they want.
And guess what? I adopted one myself. I named him Karl.
Now, what do happy gay sheep produce? Gay wool. The raw wool is processed and turned into fashion. To earn money for charity, we all came together to create Rainbow Wool, presenting the first fashion line crafted from the wool of gay sheep. Our fluffy flock is giving the runway a rainbow upgrade. Go to our website, sponsor a sheep, and buy some rainbow wool fashion today to support queer-friendly people projects and set a good example.
Karl, Karlchen. Karl, that was one hell of a coming out, huh?
So what Ejim talked about earlier is that it's actually quite difficult to create well-branded creator content because creators are not actors. They often do their own thing, and that's exactly why you're working with them. So the skill for brands is really learning how to give up a little bit of control and co-create with them. And I think on Rainbow Wool, they got this really right. They got the balance between over-directing or under-briefing. They did put together some guidelines for the creators, more as in the form of FAQs about the story of Rainbow Wool. And instead of these traditional paid partnerships, as Nadia explained, they gave each of the creators one of the sheep on the farm as an adopted sheep, and then asked them to promote Rainbow Wool through their content. Now, in our study, their creator content showed strong branding, as well as potential to drive both short-term and long-term impact for Rainbow Wool. So let's now watch one of the creator videos. This is by Niklas Ansbach, and you can just watch for how the brand Rainbow Wool shows up both in the story, but obviously he's wearing the merch, but none of this feels forced.
Hä? Schwule Wolle? Die gibt's wirklich, und zwar bei Rainbow Wool. Denn ja, es gibt eben auch schwule Schafe. Und schwule Schafe werden normalerweise geschlachtet, wenn sie eben nicht ihre angedachte Rolle als Zuchtschaf erfüllen. Und Rainbow Wool rettet diese Schafe und macht daraus eben neue Produkte aus der Wolle. Wie zum Beispiel diese coole Cap. Und 100% der Erlöse geht an die LSVD+. Das ist die größte deutsche NGO, die sich weltweit für queere Rechte einsetzt. Denn in 61 Ländern steht Homosexualität unter strafrechtlicher Verfolgung. Diese schwulen Schafe werden aber nicht einfach so an Rainbow Wool gespendet, sondern sie müssen tatsächlich auch ersteigert werden. Wenn ihr also Lust auf eine Partnerschaft habt, dann schaut doch ganz gerne mal bei Rainbow Wool vorbei. Denn je mehr Schafe, desto mehr Rainbow Wool. Und je mehr Rainbow Wool, desto mehr Unterstützung für die queere Community. Klingt doch logisch, oder? Alle weiteren Infos findet ihr unten in den Captions.
And now we'll hear from Andy Wyeth, who's the creative director at the Service Plan Agency, about the impact he thinks influencers brought to the overall campaign.
And I think creators, yeah, they were absolute crucial to the impact. They didn't just amplify the message; they humanized it. At the end of the day, each connection they had to the sheep, you could really feel it, and they would tell that story, their stories with their sheep, and it just felt so authentic, so human. And I think people could feel that through the content, and that really helped to give this campaign the power and the beauty that was necessary in order for it to make an impact.
So we'll be wrapping up in a little bit, but here are the 3 key takeaways that we want you to walk away with today. One is to absolutely stay focused on unmissable branding at the core of your campaigns, because that is one of the keys to effectiveness and seeing ROI and impact for your brand in the long term. Second is to move away from thinking of creators as a media channel, but think about opportunities to bring them in as creative partners. And the third one is to always think from an overall campaign effectiveness lens and to think about connectivity. How are you connecting what you're doing in different channels, and are the viewers able to connect that it's you, and taking out the message and all the different touch points that they come across. We have a lot more in the report. I think Reetta will share the link afterwards, but we also have a QR code if you want to download it. And we do have some room to answer your questions. So if you have any, please put them in the chat, and we can talk about them. I don't see any questions, but please don't.
We have some questions. I'm just
in the Q&A, yes,
the audience that you can still write them to the questions section, Q&A section, and I'll ask them from Vera and Jem, and also Christopher, who is present here. So here's the question. What are the biggest mistakes, in your opinion, that brands make when trying to stand out today?
Ooh. Jem, do you want to take that one? I think we're both thinking the same thing.
Let's see. I mean, I would say just doing things just for the sake of standing out without thinking what does it mean for your brand, if it fits in your overall strategy to find growth. So yeah, I think standing out is an important element. Yes, you should be memorable, but it should be in association to something meaningful for your brand, not just standing out.
Yeah, and I would connect to that. We see a lot of brands being interested in standing out in culture, and we think that's really important. But for many brands, anyone who's watched Taylor Swift's engagement or the Bad Bunny Super Bowl halftime show, there are ways that some brands jump on that, and it's, as Jem said, it's on strategy. It helps them carry their message forward in an entertaining way. But there are also brands for whom it comes across as piggybacking rather than putting their message forward and being differentiated for the right crowd. So I would say one of the mistakes would be trend chasing every single tiny trend so that you can be a part of it, rather thinking about it from like a cultural strategy and brand strategy point of view.
Thank you. And in your opinion, are there any specific signals or indicators that predict a campaign effectiveness early on?
Yeah, so basically we're from Kantar, so we've spent a lot of our days and decades figuring out what can predict campaigns success in advance. And we have a lot of intellectual property that we have validated in this space. But some of the key things for advertising are around how well are you able to engage the viewers? So, is the campaign enjoyable? Is it engaging? Branding is a huge part of predicting success because often you have these ideas that could be very emotional, very engaging, and they could be either seen as something that anyone in the category could do, or actually anyone could do, not just a brand in your category. So if you, for example, think about automotive advertising, historically, like a lot of it kind of looks the same, right? So we would say you still have a very emotional story, but if it's not clear whether it's that brand or that brand, the impact of that will be compromised. And this is something you can work on before you launch the campaign. You can optimize ahead of time. You can make the right decisions, using the right insights and intelligence ahead of time so that you don't have to course correct or waste budget once you're on air. So we'd say primarily those things in terms of how the campaign engages in relation to the brand. But I would also say you have to think about the campaign objectives. So sometimes, the brief is to really focus on brand building, to do something that's going to create a lasting, long impression. Sometimes there are also those briefs where help me with activation. I need to spike up short-term sales. And sometimes the way you go about it in ads will be different. There are ads that can do both, but oftentimes they'll go one way or the other. And also you can predict in advance whether the ads and the campaign have the right ingredients to drive specific objectives. So again, to make the right decision, you can lean on pre-testing on products like Link or Link AI to make those decisions ahead of time, and you can optimize before you go on air.
Thank you. One more question. If you had to choose just one principle from Effie winning campaigns that every brand should adopt immediately, what would it be?
Ooh. Jen, what would it be for you?
I think is the combination actually of all our 3 lessons. It's just really keeping the brand's essence in every part of the plan, of the strategy, not using it as a plug-in. But I think all these brands in the Effie Europe winning cases, I think it was clear what they stood for and what the image they had, and the core of their DNA, of their brand wasn't there. And when I say what they stand for, what their values are, I'm not necessarily talking about the brands that we had cases doing social good, but I'm not only talking about that, but having a clear vision and build around the brands. For example, for the Old Spice, the whole campaign was again built around. It wasn't just deciding that, okay, we are going to partner with the gamers, but it was well thought of how the brand was integrated in every step, and what they meant for the gaming community. And then we have Rainbow Wool, and again MasterCard as well. And so the ideas that are built on a strategy, basically, I think that is all of them have in common as their strength.
Yeah. Thank you. We have reached the end of our webinar. Thank you so much, Vera Sitlova, Ecem Erdem, and Christopher Houghton from Kantar. Thank you for the great case examples. They were very enlightening. And thanks for the audience and also the questions. And we here at Marketing Finland will continue with webinars next week. But I hope that you have a lovely rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you.
And bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye bye.